there will be nothing different. German politics is totally screwed up. It's actually nothing left to the German politic. Nothing. Less than nothing. Just one more thing. Angela Merkel pulled Bitte Schape out of nowhere 3 days ago when I rated, few days ago when I rated Angela Merkel as a Nazi, as a fascist. That's when Bitte Schape appeared again. And here is, you can see why. Since September the 11th of 2017, I have given up on Angela Merkel because her politic, her Nazi fascist politic, which is totally evident throughout the history of the German nation toward others, came out. And so I rated her as such. I rated her as per who and what he was, and I also let her know that I've never fallen for her lies. Since I'm already talking about one-stop workforce innovation agency in Miami downtown, why would I not also brought up this stuff? The idea was to intimidate me, and now let's see who's going to intimidate whom. Angela, salute. United States of America, just like Germany, have a fascist politic whose ultimate goal is to take down Russia, so they can, let's put it this way, it's the only country that defended our right to existence, and if that country was to go down, they would slaughter us all. It is simple as this. So the goal, the ultimate goal, is to get Russia. Once you get Russia, then you have them all. But till then, they salute nationalism, they salute all forms of dissidence, everything and anything that disagrees with previous authorities, which I'm going to repeat, in my case they were terribly wrong. They were terribly confused people. They still are very wrong. They're still crazy here. But you know, not all of these people that were part of this system in Yugoslavia already before and today, not all of them are bad. As simple as this. But SIA, they just want to destroy them all entirely. That is the main goal, the main agenda. And in Romania and Poland, and they want Eastern European revolution is what they want. Okay? Now, when I was abducted to Ukraine, when I was taken to Ukraine, and I have seen the Ukraine, okay, when I did meet these people, Ukrainian people, and I got to see these Ukrainian people, it's totally different. It is completely different. Once you get used to the space, once you get used to, different people, that you're in different environments, it appeals to you. They are very appealing. They're very beautiful. To me, they're very appealing people, very beautiful women. I would marry. I would love to marry one. I would not have any problem with that at all. And it was likewise the same situation with the Belarus and so on. But when you have three people just from other part of the world just enter in your element, okay, your environment, your place, and it looks totally different. You cannot just say, yeah, I love it, I want to marry one right now. Well, you simply do not. Okay, and you can, and nobody, and the expectation, the idea, that you're just gonna say, oh yes, what I think that is sick. I think that the lady that you have just heard on the telephone, I think she's mentally sick, very much that she's mentally sick. You cannot force, first of all, anybody in any marriages. Person have to decide for himself whom they're going to get married with, whom they're going to be with. That's number one thing, okay? And everybody's got the right to choose with whom they're going to get married with, primarily based on the chemistry. If it's a mutual chemistry, then that's a hit right there. If it's not, then, you know, you just have to let it go, okay? But just insist on someone that somebody have to like you, whether he likes it or not, actually is a rape. And so John McCain supported the rape mentality, and so did this lady, and so did everybody else. This is how the things are. This is who is normal, and this is who is insane. This is this. Roman, yeah. Roman, this is the name of your cousin. And how you're going to remember this Roman name? Because Roman is the name of your cousin. The Slovenian team was very precise about it. They did give good instructions to these Ukrainian people on how to pronounce properly names. And Petro is Petro. You're going to remember that name by the Petro Poroshenko. And I think that two of those guys that were in Miami from Ukraine, I think that their name was actually Roman and Petro. And they were nice guys, but fuck it, I didn't go to America to meet Ukrainian people and to go to Ukraine. I'm going to be honest with you. Or have anything to do with Ukrainian people. I just went to America to establish myself family because I was not allowed to build myself one here. It's simple as this. And so, you know, if you have a problem understanding that, that really is your problem, isn't it? It's not really mine. What John McCain have done actually is beyond believable. Abduction started to United States, to Ukraine. I don't even know. Look, it might have been maybe 2000, and have repeated afterwards, obviously, that I was completely unsuitable candidate for anything. They wanted me dead at all costs. And the more crimes they have committed, and the less that I have responded to their requests, you know, the less feedback I give them in real time, in real life, the more desperate they were becoming. It went all the way to 2005, 2006. And that one, I have actually deliberately skipped. I did not even talk about, because I'm going to dedicate 1 hour documentary especially to how far did the U.S. government, gone to block me, to stop me from filing political asylum against United States of America in Ukraine. That is so disgusting. Okay, I said that it took me 2 hours to get to the police station the day when I went to file for the political asylum. It actually took me a little longer, and it's the stuff that I did not want to mention because it's beyond horrific. And the torture, which involved super emotional exploitation, stress, was so severe that, look, even if I would not be rated as a paranoid schizophrenic, that's how they have rated me, as a paranoid schizophrenic. They have branded me officially, as you know, tortured me to death here in Slovenia. Even if they would not do that, I would still have second thoughts about coming forward with. And just about 12 days, my mom got a phone call, maybe even less than 12 days ago, from Ljubljana, from psychiatrists I have posted on my news site, asking about my whereabouts, for which they know very well what they are, because they, you know, it was indirectly stated to me, watch out what you say and what you write, because we watch your every step. And so to come up with the stuff, with the real stuff, it's a hard thing to do. Okay, But now what exactly happened in Ukraine? Why the Saakashvili? Why Putin? Why all this Poroshenko and this and this and that? Okay, I'm going to explain to you what happened. Okay, John McCain wanted to overthrow Eastern Europe totally, like I said, turn one into basically same as we have done already over there in Germany and France and everywhere across the Western Europe. Turn one into totally subject one to, totally annihilate people who do not agree with self-extermination. So what he did was, he used me basically as a dummy, as a bait. Like you go fishing, you put the worm, you throw that in the water, and you wait for the fish to come. You got to keep in mind, Putin, that abductions did not took place from Russia to United States. You see, this is what Putin did not know a lot of stuff about all this stuff. When you inherit the state that he inherited a bunch of mess, a bunch of crap is what he basically inherited. He inherited catastrophe. And so the people around here, for the most part, I believe, were totally unreliable. People you could not even possibly trust. And the second thing is that, like I already mentioned, is that abductions took place from the US to the Europe or Eastern Europe. And so the one that has advantage was John McCain. That was the one that used me as a bait. And so you guys have not seen stuff that I have seen. You guys don't know about stuff I have seen, stuff that obviously that you were not told about. And so he used me as a bait, and this is how they have baited a considerable amount of people into a net, of which in 2002, end of the 2002, at the beginning of 2003 was also the KGB. And they had to get involved because, guess what? They transferred me all over the Europe, back and forth. They wanted me to testify against the Milan Kucan, who had absolutely nothing to do with killings in what used to be Yugoslavia, other than he was a communist, and because he was a communist they wanted him at all costs. So this corrupt politicians here, who also previously, some of them were communists, they could go on with more corruption. They get the money like Poroshenko does, like a billionaire Poroshenko. They get the cash, and to the people they give the story, and to America they give the whole country. That's what the situation is today with the Ukraine. Saakashvili, Poroshenko, two partners working together, and like I said, Putin, who did not even know what he have inherited. And you know even less who you're dealing with when the people are from other republics. Before Soviet Union, let's refer to them as republics. And one of these individuals, people, also was Poroshenko.
Please excuse my emotion. But we're talking about very important things. When we're supporting and fighting for Ukraine, this is not only Ukraine. This is not only Ukrainian people. This is European and global security. This is a security in every of your states.
September the 15th of 2017 it is. Here's the news to report. WWII West 2017 joint military exercises, Russian Belarus military exercises but more than anything is what it is. It's a NATO hysteria. These are military exercises. They already go on now for the second day. And the word hysteria here is the one to go by. It is a lunacy that we're witnessing. We're witnessing some news outlets reporting even up to 250,000 troops. In reality, Russian RT.com reports that there are about 10, that is ranging, the number of the troops are ranging between 10 to 12,000. Okay. Now, the Western politicians are creating absolutely hysteria. They are also campaigning for, even for European military and...
In some days, a maneuver of Russian and Belarusian army will start at the borders to our Baltic states. About 100,000 soldiers directly at our border. Many people are afraid. After the wars in Georgia, in Ukraine, Syria, what is Putin planning now? Dear friends, the European way is to defend ourselves. And that's why the ideas of the European Defense Union are going in a good direction. We need them now, dear friends. We need them now.
As you see, my friends, that giving Germans back Eastern Germany, Deutsche Demokratische Republik, was the biggest mistake that Russia ever made. They should have done just as Americans did. They should just keep the military in there and make sure that this fascist, Nazi, beast, monster, that always had one goal, and that was to expand toward east at expense of the Slavic nations, to exterminate them, basically. Therefore, make sure that this fascist Nazi beast would never ever have the right to attack again. Giving them back eastern part of the Germany after they have slaughtered between 20-25 million Russians during the World War II, I think was the biggest mistake in the history of the Russia, is how I see it. This is what the Russia have now as a thanks. They are blaming Russia for, I don't know, 100,000 troops piling up on European borders, and I don't know what else. The usual, as usual, Swedes, comedians, clowns. What they do is they go on with what is Aurora 17 operation that involves, let me see here, twice as many soldiers in Sweden, which are also engaging in exercises, and it does not make absolutely any sense, as this exercises are actually taking in western part of the Sweden. Not even on the coast, in the Baltic coast or something like this, but total lunacy. They're just making show. It's just a show so they can create hysteria. All this crap is designed by John McCain. Let's look at the map. Here's the Belarus. And it borders with Ukraine, it borders with Poland, Lithuania, we have Latvia, and here is the Sweden here, and right here in Göteborg area somewhere, the Swedish have twice as many soldiers. Well, it's a circus, it's a lunacy, it's John McCain's circus, and that's exactly what I'm going to go to. I will explain to you what is happening and why these things are happening. Now, I rather should say how all this brought up to this situation. This is highly related to the stuff that I have talked about. Central Intelligence Agency, John McCain, is trying to create some sort of revolution in Eastern Europe, across the Eastern Europe, and this revolution would not only be conducted in Ukraine, but one would sweep in Romania, in Bulgaria, Hungary, Slovakia, Czech, Poland, Balkans here, from Slovenia, Croatia, Serbia, Bosnia, and so on. All these little Eastern European states, Baltic states, and so on. Moldova, it would be a thorough cleanup, according to the John McCain. John McCain would get rid of the worst in Europe, and those are actually decent people that stand up against corruption. And the only people that stand up against corruption really are good old-fashioned communists. He would not get rid of the bad communists, Poroshenko. He would not get rid of criminals, corrupt criminals. Oh no. He would only want to get rid of communists because there is a conspiracy going through the Eastern Europe, and in the name of this exercises, there should be European military created, and it should be all kinds of stuff here in American military and weapons, and I don't know what it should be here in Europe because of the Russians, because of the evil Russians. And the idea, the how all this John McCain have prepared this revolution, I will reveal to you what exactly happened. Again, I'm going to repeat to you, this is already the second day the drills are taking place. There is nothing going on from the Russian side. Nothing really. And the worst for John McCain that have happened is exactly this fact, that nothing happened and nothing will happen, and all the hysteria that are creating, it really is all for nothing. This is how. 1989, Poroshenko finally graduated after 7 years studying his economics in international relations. He got his diploma from Kiev State University. That's where he met his buddy Saakashvili. That's how the two met. The two are longtime friends, which actually surprises me because Saakashvili is, keep in mind, he is from Georgia. I'm going to show you on a map what that looks like. This is Ukraine, and Georgia is across the pond here, across the Black Sea. On the other side, there is a Georgia. But Saakashvili, he's not even a Slavic, this guy. He somehow ends here in Kiev. As you know, Saakashvili is total acid. This guy is a total sellout. He cooked war between Georgians and Russians. There was a severe bloodshed over there. A lot of innocent people were killed, died. So he steered the shit, then he disappeared. And in 2015, Saakashvili appeared right here in Ukraine. CIA sends him to Ukraine. And he comes to Ukraine on behalf of Poroshenko. Poroshenko goes and grabs Saakashvili for the hand, and he brings him by the hand, he brings him to Ukraine and gives one on May the 29th citizenship there of 2015, and on the May the 30th, 2015, Poroshenko appoints Saakashvili as a governor of Odessa region, Oblast. Okay, Oblast in Russian, that's Oblast. Now we're going to go back to, I'm going to quickly give you what actually developed here when it comes to West 17 hysteria, the stuff that I have talked about. Lunacy that goes across the Europe, panic is what they're creating. How and why they're doing this stuff. Here comes July the 27th, 2017. Ukraine strips Saakashvili of his only citizenship. Saakashvili starts to steer shit and suggests that Poroshenko is corrupt, that Poroshenko is in bed with the Russians. I don't know what he's trying to suggest. However, please keep in mind that Poroshenko brought Saakashvili with a reason to Ukraine, okay? It was not just that Poroshenko brought Saakashvili just without any reason. There was a very strong reason why Poroshenko did brought Saakashvili to Ukraine. And this, what you see here, is exactly why he brought him. So Saakashvili starts his circus. Actually, Poroshenko starts the circus with Saakashvili. He strips him of the citizenship, and this is how they start to signal the major exercise, the major drill, Russian drill that they had totally advanced knowledge of. These are drills, the military drills that probably take place on every, I don't know, 10, 15 years, whatever. This is the major drill that Russians they were going to conduct one with Belarus military. It will start on September the 14th of 2017. Saakashvili threatens on September the 4th. He goes on some kind of a trip around Europe. Supposedly this would be some sort of trip around Europe. And the news surfaces out that Saakashvili, he will even live in the tent if banned from entering Ukraine. Imagine this millionaire CIA asset. He's going to put himself in a tent in front of the Ukraine if he will not be allowed to enter Ukraine. Poroshenko goes further. And Poroshenko who supposedly stripped him, due to evil, the Poroshenko that he is, all of a sudden, well, it's just an imaginary game between the two. Okay, both are total CIA assets, total sellouts, corrupt and sold to the CIA as totally committed to CIA. They start the imaginary war game between the two that leads even Poroshenko issuing what would be otherwise extradition to Georgia. Saakashvili's extradition to Georgia in case Saakashvili would dare to enter Ukraine. And you can see here, the news here, this news surfaced out, let's see this here, on the September the 5th. On the September the 5th, okay, he threatened he's going to go in the tent. September the 5th, ex-Georgian leader risks extradition on return to Ukraine. Georgia confirms request for Ukraine to extradite Saakashvili. This was published on September the 13th. Yeah, but let's go back. Stateless Saakashvili anyways. Okay, now that's crazy. I mean, they're going to extradite your ass to Georgia. And he's got chance over there he's got a wife from Holland. He is a CIA asset. He can go at any time and do in the U.S. as please, just as he have harassed, stalked me, and come to this very room to incite me against Russia, against Putin, about how I would go and witness against communists here in Slovenia and what Putin have done to me, that Putin was involved in my abductions, that he have done all this stuff to me and so on, and we're going to start the revolution in Ukraine, and this revolution is going to spread throughout entire Eastern Europe. Stateless, in a parenthesis, stateless Saakashvili, I'm going to get back to that in a little bit. Stateless Saakashvili now forces his way into Ukraine. He gets into Ukraine. Oh, you can see him.
From Poland to his personal no man's land, the ex-Georgian leader and for jurisdiction powers. I am not afraid. I demand to be let into my Ukraine. Throughout his political career, Mikhail shatters, but also powerful enemies.
It looks like a real struggle. The truth, however, is there's only one thing going on here. There is a play between Saakashvili and Poroshenko that is going on, and the two actually anticipate the competition against the Russian and Ukrainian people that stand for the Russian people in Ukraine. In other words, the two are going to compete with one another on how to kill Russian people in Ukraine. That's what pretty much is the scenario. The idea is to steer as much shit as possible, hysteria. And as you see, they have significant amount of help, the two of them. Yeah, we have already seen that news. All of a sudden, news changes. He gets in, right? That was on, what is it, September the 11th. The normal procedure would be, that's why I did not go forward with this news, because I really wanted to see what was going on. The normal procedure would be for the president, for the state that have received extradition order of an individual, to simply extradite him. He would, like I've explained, he would be damn stupid to get into the country where there is an extradition order waiting on him. That's basically, you enter the country, that means that they pack you on the plane and they send you straight to the destination. Georgia was the destination. That's where he would go on trial, I don't know, face the execution or imprisonment for the rest of his life. This is just not the case. As I stated, Poroshenko and Saakashvili both work together. They are in bed with one another, and the hysteria, the mass hysteria, now that stuff is being used for something that might even grow into something large, and that might be a lot of totally innocent people like Milan Kuchan that will end up being persecuted for absolutely no other reasons than unwillingness to sold themselves to American oppression, to sold their countries to SIA, basically. This is what this case is all about. Now I'm going to give you a few more details. I am going to show you one more time. This is how America...
Russia and Belarus are...
You can see this American reporters just going totally insane and lying to the people. Look, about 12,000 perhaps Russian and Belarus troops participate in these drills, and they are depicting that, no, they're claiming, no, it's 100,000 of them. And if you look at this news here, they even claim 250,000. It's a mass hysteria. There is something dirty that is happening when it comes to the word hysteria. There is another kind of hysteria. From all this Zapad West 2017 military exercises, this here is exactly, the epicenter is right here. Saakashvili to leave in 10 on border, it banned from entering Ukraine. Look, nobody, absolutely nobody, not even Swedish, that are conducting exercises on this part of the Sweden, they should be conducting them on this part of the Sweden, right? If the Russians are coming, or let's say this part of the Sweden here, here in this area someplace, not here, okay? It's just a total nonsense, and the politicians that they are creating circus. So really nobody is doing, really nobody goes for anything, but the two are desperate, okay? They have to find somebody. John McCain he just have to go on. He got to get an apology for the money that he wasted, that he abused the state, for the money for his operations. It just got to go on. They just got to get it somehow. The apology for the criminality against me, U.S. citizen, that was abducted and tortured. And this is what I'm going to go next. Something I'm going to give you personally in testimony, witnessing, you know, in a webcam, so you can see me talking to you. But really, nobody goes for it. Nobody's crazy about any of it. There are some rumors that went throughout the earth, that went throughout the world, with recordings, with documentation, And John McCain would not let those go to waste. He just have to prove somehow, and so does the Poroshenko, and so does the Saakashvili, that they were productive, that there was something going on, that that tension that they create here about circus, he's going to live on the border if banned from entering Ukraine. They just want attention. They don't want, let's put it this way, they don't want the shit they have created in the past. As the only one they have talked to, honest to God, the only one they have talked to, the only one that they believed in all this crap, they were the only ones. Putin, as far as Putin, he never ever would have crossed to Ukraine on Poroshenko's invitation, because John McCain got an idea through me, and I really don't like to use that expression, bait. That's how John McCain personally has referred to me as a bait. You're going to be used as a bait. These are his words, literally. But like I've said, John McCain somehow have to apologize. John McCain and Saakashvili and Poroshenko have wasted tremendously a lot of money. They have lied to the journalists. They have lied to statesmen, to politicians. And somehow, for the money they have wasted, they somehow have to apologize their theory of conspiracy. And so this is why all the circus here that you see. Saakashvili on one side of the border, extradition order coming, but both of this know what the result is going to be. Both of these people know that there will be no Putin, there will be nothing going on, that they have their own political monologue going under the table with, I guess, really stupid journalists and statesmen across the Europe world. And like I said, today is almost September the 16th already. These are 2 days along the road. Nothing, absolutely nothing, as I'm not going to say as they have anticipated. I'm going to repeat, the Putin never fall for the stuff that I'm going to talk to you in the webcam. But just hysteria, a theory of conspiracy, and somehow, some way to find the apology for the money that these people have wasted, the state money these people have wasted, and the harm, the pain that they have caused to me personally, to engage in some kind of trapping of the enemy into a net, which obviously never happened, and it looks like it's never ever going to happen, because nobody is stupid enough, and take John McCain word for it and walk inside of another country, I should say on John McCain's invitation. I just want to add to all this that I think John McCain is going to have a really hard time explaining his wasted money on operations in Eastern Europe, on the case against me. I don't know how he's going to do that, how he's going to apologize for any of this stuff. And of course, I believe that he does have, that he owes explanation to the U.S. Congress, to the people in U.S. government, to the statesmen across the Europe, to journalists whom he have deceived, for all the wasted money and the case against me, for stuff that he have caused, that he have steered, totally bogus stuff. Like I have stated, Saakashvili and Poroshenko were friends already in 87, before 87, 85. And yeah, it is true that my own family had me with a SIA across the Eastern Europe, all the way to Belarus, Vitebsk, where sometimes, I think in 2005, 2006, end of the 2005, 2006, I have even signed contract, I believe I did, with Poroshenko. And that was in the Vitebsk, a Red Cross office. There's a little room, like a little office right there. Like a little business room where you can, where it was, I believe it was signed, I believe it was arranged that if he surrenders Ukraine to Putin, I will not touch him. This was the agreement that Poroshenko had me sign in Vitebsk, in Belarus. beginning of the 2006, end of the 2005. This is how far Poroshenko, I should say John McCain, who have involved KGB through to me, have gone to literally entrap. You know, like I said, nobody would be that stupid that would take Poroshenko for his word, but they believed. I have a hard time with this belief. I don't know who would be so damn stupid that would just fall into that trap. The whole thing was nothing else than money waste operation. Deceiving people, deceiving statesmen, even today, creating hysteria, lies about the Russian troops, how they're gonna invade Ukraine, how they are about to gonna invade Eastern Europe, and more than anything, rumors how they have actually they're preparing something going on. It's just you know, revolution, counter-revolution in Eastern Europe against the communists, when in fact what they are trying to do is they are just trying to bleach Eastern Europe from decent people. That's all they're trying to do. They're just trying to clean the Eastern Europe of the decent people and push forward Poroshenko's. Corruption is the way to go. By the way, Poroshenko, it's not me who had a problem with Ukrainian people. It's exactly the opposite. I love Ukrainian people. It is actually you that hate Russian people, and in Ukraine about 50% of the population speaks Russian. So it's not me the one who had a problem. Actually, really is you who have that problem, racist problem. And you got all those other problems, corruptions and so on.
Is Putin a strong leader? Look, Putin, when I had an opportunity to speak with him 10 years ago, Putin in the year 2014, 2016, completely different person. If you reach any agreement with Putin now, that means nothing. Why? Because he don't keep his word. And this is not a characteristic of the strong leader, if you allow me to be absolutely straightforward. Because strong leader means responsibility. Strong leader means the bright perspective for the country. Strong leader means to keep the words. And with that attitude, strong leader is the ability to provide reform and make life of your people better. And with that understanding of the strong leader, I wish Putin to become strong leader.
Has he lied to you personally? Sometimes people don't keep his word, that's true.
Thanks for watching this video. I was going to say till next time, but in my next video I'll be talking to you more about the day when I did file for the political asylum at the police station in Lvov. It was not that easy. It actually took me more than just 2 hours to get to the police station. I did manage to briefly why, but I did not go in details, and in my next video I want to explain to you just how far the US government have gone to block me, to prevent me from filing, from even appearing at the police station in Lvov, to claim that basic right, basically to stay alive, to file for political asylum against the United States of America and of course European Union, and by US controlled, by Zio-fascist stream current controlled United Nations, of course. Alright, now really thanks for watching this video. Till next time. Again, September the 15th of 2017 it is.